Hello and welcome to the PCM Tech Help Show. I'm your host, Craig Chamberlain. You are watching PCM Tech Talk Live. That's right, PCM Tech Talk Live, where I, Craig Chamberlain, host you guys, hopefully, into the new era of technology, where we discuss all kinds of interesting things going on in the tech world. And Tech Talk Live, of course, is broken up into a few different segments. And before I get started big time today, we're going to go to PCMTechHelp.com/live. And we're going to make sure that you guys get shared the link of the live broadcast, which is live right now. And I want to verify, since we're using a new service, that I'm actually live right now. I want to make sure that things are broadcasting correctly. Although it does look like things are going good so far, remember PCM Tech Talk Live is for you guys, the subscribers. Now, the ultimate goal of the PCM Tech Help Show has always been to get free tech help into the hands of everybody who might need them. And the awesome thing about that is, essentially, we can do it all for free anymore. Everything's powered by the internet. Everything's powered by advertising and things like that. And that's what's really exciting about it. So I'm going to go ahead and share this out to the social networks. A lot of people don't realize it's going on at the moment. I got a little bit of a late start tonight, and I want to make sure that I push this out to everybody before we get started. And there goes that link to those social networks. Now, if you're having trouble following me, make sure you follow me on any of the major social networks. I do publish a link to the show and to the episode prior to actually going live, typically. Tonight was an exception to that rule. So in this case, actually, I'm doing it right now as we're talking. And I'm going to post it to the community page at the Google Plus community. That's PCMTechHelp.com/community. That's where a lot of us hang out here. And we have a really good time there, actually, to be honest with you. We do all kinds of interesting things. Let me pull up my link, because I want to make sure I share the full video description. Because tonight we're going to be talking about, what are we talking about tonight? EASEUS, however you want to pronounce it, Partition Master, which will allow you to actually do partitioning on your main hard drive. And let me go ahead and highlight this, edit. I'm going to copy and repost this so everybody can see it. Again, usually I do this before the show starts, but I didn't get a chance to today. I was testing out my HD, trying to get my HD working, and we're going to do broadcasting now. Broadcasting now. And it's at live stream. There. It's official. It's official. We're live. Live in front of a non-studio audience. We're live in front of a lot of people. Hopefully. So there's a lot of things going on. So make sure that you guys tune in here every Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Today is Thursday. That's right. We're reaching the tail end of the week. That means tomorrow's Friday, which means for a lot of you guys, tomorrow you don't have to worry about, we're coming back to work on the next day after tomorrow, which would be, Saturday. Some of us still need to go into work on Saturday. In particular, I don't. So I got lucky today. And let's see what we got going on here. Looks like people are just getting a still picture, which that can't be good. Try closing other apps. Uh-oh. Ruh-roh. Let me know if you guys are getting anything other than a still image. Apparently, that's what people are getting right now in the live stream. Looks like it's going on mine. You might need to lower your quality a little bit in order to get things going. So let's go ahead and get started here. Let's see if we can make this happen. I don't know if we can or not. We will find out. Only time will see whether or not you guys can actually see what's going on my screen. Because right now, I see my screen, in 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 my screen. Everything seems to be functioning properly, but only time will tell here. So today, we're going to talk about EASEUS Partition Master. And one of the big things about EASEUS, actually, is that it's completely free for personal use. And I've personally been a fan of software that's free for personal use for a long time. If you've been to my website, PCMTechHelp.com, you'll know that I have all of these free downloads available right at my website. Let's go there right now, PCMTechHelp.com, and bring up the website. And we're going to go ahead and see what we have going on here at the website. You go to free downloads up here at the top, and then you want to go down to, in this particular case, networking and admin, and then you want to go to disk tools, and then we have EASEUS Partition Master. And that will actually bring you to the link so that you can go and download the EASEUS Partition Master. One of the great things about EASEUS is it actually has almost a full built-in suite. So I'm going to go to EASEUS so you guys can see a comparison, or manager. You know, they call it manager, master. It's actually master, partition master. The Partition Manager is a easy-to-use partition software. And for those of you who don't know what partitioning is, it's essentially a way for you to cut up your hard drive into different sections, and then you can take those different sections and assemble them into different areas. So in other words, you can have one partition of your same hard drive dedicated to like Linux, and then you could have another partition dedicated to your Windows operating system. And then you could have another partition dedicated to your, your third Chromium OS, however you'd like to do it. And partitioning out your drive allows you to do that. Partitioning your drive also allows you to kind of break up your drive into like a system section of your drive, and then having like a file section of your drive, which allows you to do better organization and things like that for your system as well. So that's essentially one of the premises behind doing this, and that's one of the reasons it's there, is so that you can actually pay attention and see and adjust your hard drive in a way that'll actually create a better experience for you, whatever your drive is doing. Essentially, you can get more out of your drive than you normally have. So let's go ahead and go here. Partition Master Professional is right here. Unlimited. We're going to check out the latest version of the freeware, Home and Home Office. I'm going to go to Download up at the top, and I'm going to scroll down to the Home Edition, only for home users, and I'm going to select Download. I can download it there. Like I said, I also download it at my website. That's PCMTechHelp.com/downloads. And if you scroll down, actually, you can look at all the different edition comparisons, which is a real popular way to do it as well. And you can see what the difference is between all of your versions. But today we're just going to talk about EASEUS Partition Master. We're going to go ahead and give it an install and see how we do here. Let me minimize that, get that out of my way. So let's run through the installer. I'm going to check back here at the community, make sure everything's kind of going. It doesn't look, it looks like things are going. Looks like things are going. People are liking it so far. I think we're doing okay. I think so. We'll see how we do. I will only use this software on my family PC. Something very important for you guys to pay attention to here is that you actually need to be able to see. Here, let me turn that off. Maybe that'll help with some broadcasting issues. You need to be able to see and make sure that you're adhering to the proper licensing agreement on your software package. This Home Edition is only for family and home use, okay? You're not supposed to use it for commercial use. And so this big licensing, these big bold letters here that they're yelling at you for, are very important to pay attention to. So if you select that, and then you can start going into Next to actually see what your installation is. We've all done installations before, right? Very easy to do. I'm just going to click Next, Next. I don't want to check for updates at startup, and Next. And of course my installation is going through. So as you guys can see, we're installing Partition Master Home Edition, and this is completely free. And essentially I'm going to show you guys how to use it. In essence, very simple product to use, and it'll allow you to actually do some system partitioning. I use it all the time, actually. Please register your email for product updates. I'll say no. No, thank you. I don't want product updates. Click no. And then I'm going to go ahead and open up the Partition Master software. Now, I'm greeted with 3 options as soon as I boot up the software here. I have the Partition Manager, the all-in-one Windows Partition Manager and Reliable Management Toolkit. It allows you to resize the partition, especially for system drives, settle low disk space problems, and manage disk space easily on a disk. You've got Data Recovery, which I believe isn't included in the free version of Partition Master. Then you have Backup and Restore. Let's take a look at the Partition Manager, which is essentially what today's episode is about. And we're going to see how we actually what we can actually do here to make something magical happen in the world of partitioning. Partitioning is really kind of a nifty way to do backups. It's also a nifty way to, yeah, I use the word nifty, to create kind of a dual environment for your system, like I said earlier in it. Now, we're greeted here on the left-hand side with a number of options. Now, one real popular tool to use within this software package is a partition checker. So you can actually check to make sure your drive is healthy. If you right click on it and you actually go down to check partition, you can actually look on your drive. You can do a full surface test, check partition properties, and call Windows check disk, which is a built-in utility for Windows, to actually run a full test on your partition or your hard drive and see if there's anything failing in the drive at that time. I always recommend people who are considering partitioning their drives that the first thing they do is go in here and do an actual surface test. Well, not necessarily a surface test, but at least a partition property and a check disk on their drive, because there's nothing worse than starting to partition out a drive only to find out that the drive was starting to fail. And so make sure you do that. And I did that by right-clicking on my drive and clicking check partition. Now what you can do here on the left-hand side, you get all kinds of options. You can do resize and move partition, so you can resize it to different sizes. You can copy a partition from one section of a drive to another. You can do a merge, convert to logical. For those of you guys who don't know what that is, there's a primary and a logical partition on your drive. Your Windows operating system has your primary drive. Your primary, it's called a primary partition. Essentially, it's a bootable partition. And a logical partition is typically an extended partition for just storing files and data. So you can convert a primary partition into a logical in order to access that data. That's a very popular tool. You can change the label, which is essentially just the title. You can change the drive letter, which you can do in Windows anyway. There's a built-in defragmentation suite now for it, which is kind of nice. You can set this partition to active, which means the next time your computer boots, it'll launch this partition instead. You can do a check partition like we did before. You can do hide. That way it doesn't show up in your disk manager or computer management. You can delete a partition, format a partition. Usually after you create a new partition, you're going to want to format it in whatever file system is appropriate for your operating system. You can wipe it, which is like a secure erase instead of just a delete. Not a secure erase. It's just basically it wipes it clean, but it doesn't delete the partition itself. Explore the partition to pull files off of it, and of course view properties. So as you can see, there's a lot of capability built into just this system. They even have a couple wizards up here that will walk you through different utilities or different aspects of the software. You can do a clone disk wizard, which will help you clone your disk to a different drive. Copy a partition, so you can make a duplicate of your drive partition. And partition recovery wizard's great for those who accidentally deleted a partition or had a corrupted master boot record and they need to recover data from it. And so that's a real good way to actually recover data from your partitions that got lost. Up here at the top, there's some basic partitioning, of course. This is just a different drop-down, different way to get to the navigation that was on the left-hand side. We have view, which we can look at a disk map location, disk info. These are just your toolbars, general settings. You can set passwords to lock your partitions. And you can make it a bootable CD, which is pretty popular if you want to have multiple operating systems. You can do a backup, and obviously, if you are so inclined, you can upgrade to a business license for your particular drive. Now, if I wanted to actually play around with this, one thing that's kind of cool is you can play around with your settings before actually creating or modifying a partition. So I have an external drive right here. It's my Seagate Backup, it's called, my Backup Plus drive. And I can actually take this drive and I can start to do things to it. So I can say, let's resize this partition, or let's resize / move partition, okay? And then I get greeted with this awesome resize move partition table. And let's say I just want to shrink it, so I just drag this bar to the left, okay? And then I say, okay. And then what it does is it actually resizes that partition, but it hasn't actually applied it yet, okay? So it's actually creating this as a theoretical setup. So then I've got two different partitions. One of them is 388 gigs. The other one's 542 gigabytes. I can then at this point actually right-click on this and create a partition. Okay? We'll say test. And then I'll click OK. See, actually I'll go into some detail here. I want to create a logical partition because a primary would be if I'm installing an operating system on it. Since this is a USB drive, I'm not going to do that. Okay? File system, I'm going to choose NTFS because I have Windows and that will detect it. ext2 and 3 are Mac, and so that'll allow you to actually install Mac on those drives as well. You can select your drive letter, your cluster size, not very important, and then I can select OK. But see, what it's doing here is it's actually creating all of my theoretical changes right here in my window. But once I've actually decided I want to go in and change or modify this partition, in the top left-hand corner I have to select Apply. It'll actually then reboot my system and create those changes. It might not actually reboot it, actually. That's one of the nice things about it. Since this is an external drive, it'll probably do it without even rebooting my system. So you can go in here and you can basically create your entire setup, and then you click Apply, and it'll actually do the rest of it for you. It's a very awesome tool. So overall, EASEUS Partition Master, I give a really big thumbs up. Okay, it's a great utility, great software package. It's very comprehensive and very powerful for what you pay, which is nothing. Nothing for personal use. So this is an excellent tool to play around with if you're considering installing multiple operating systems. And don't forget to stop by the community page at pcmtechhelp.com/community, where you can actually sit down and ask us questions, and we will do our best to walk you through how to use this tool if you're having any issues using it. So now it's going to ask me if I want to apply these changes. I'm going to say no, and I'm just going to close it out because I didn't want to actually apply those changes. And let's check out if data recovery is included in this package. I don't think it is. Yes, it's not. You can only recover 1 gigabyte of data for the free version. And it looks like backup and restore, I believe, are also paid. Yep, that's going to bring you up to a different software package. So really, the only thing included in the free version is the Partition Manager, which is an incredibly powerful tool for what you pay for it. Absolutely incredible tool. Great thing to check out. And make sure you check it out if you get the chance. So that's one of the really cool things about free software is there's a lot of really high quality software out there for personal use that a lot of people typically would never even get to experience any other way. And it's kind of an exciting thing because it opens up all kinds of opportunities for us as individual users to try stuff out. And EASEUS Partition Master is one of them that most of us never got to work with until they decided to release it for free. You used to have to go in here and actually use like a console-based system to make your, you actually do text-based F-disk applications. You had to go through command prompt and things like that to actually make your partitions and then format them and then configure your boot record. And you had to do a lot of custom work. And there was a lot of ways to really screw things up there that scared people off, a lot of people off. And thankfully, that's really not the case anymore, not nearly as bad as it used to be. So that's one of the kind of the exciting things here. Let me quit out Google Drive here. Maybe that'll free up some resources for my system here. So that's it for EASEUS Partition Master. I did want to cover that a little bit today. And of course, I was going to go into some news. I was going to check out today's top stories. Usually I do that. But I don't know if I'm going to have time for it today. It's already 9:21. I might have to go straight to your guys' questions. But it looks like really, if I look at the news, I really didn't spend enough time looking at the news today, to be honest with you. I didn't get a chance to really go over it. I meant to do that before, but I was busy setting up this HD stream. And so it looks like Lucasfilms is launching a Star Wars March Madness. Microsoft has only sold about 1.5 million Surface tablets. I'm not surprised. People are already talking about Google Reader alternatives. We discussed Google Reader the other day. It's not very, it's not around anymore. It's gone. You know, they're done with Google Reader. It's essentially out of the market. Nobody's using it anymore. They pulled it. Nobody else can use it, and it's disturbing for a lot of people. A lot of people were very sad about that. So, and I'm hoping that people aren't really that depressed because Google Reader was kind of. You know, most of us didn't even use it. So let's go into my tech thought of the day then, before we get to your questions. Remember, the show is structured as such, okay? This is the PCM Tech Help show, Tech Talk Live segment. And essentially, usually I go over a general topic, and I will discuss something as a general topic. And I'm going to go into today about following your passion, okay? Because the PCM Tech Help show is a show that I created a while back, 3 years ago, actually, to be approximate. And the whole premise of the show was to create an environment where people could come together from all different backgrounds and discuss technology. And it isn't until probably about 2 months ago I started to build a community, which I have the best community on the internet. Yeah, I know you guys are out there. And I got about 12,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is pretty awesome. But the community has finally started to build up. So it's kind of like a grassroots movement for free software, free tech help, learning all kinds of computer stuff, experimenting with your computers. And it's really kind of a cool thing. It really all spawned out of people asking me a lot of tech questions. I was asked a ton of questions in college and everything, and people were always asking me for help. Well, I got tired of answering the same questions over and over again and telling people where to get free downloads. And so I actually created a website. It was a really crappy, junky website that just had a bunch of links to my favorite downloads. And so then I was like, well, they don't know how to use the downloads. And so then I created the PCM Tech Help website, which was PC Michiana at the time. Nobody knew how to spell it, so I changed it. The PCM Tech Help website basically just had all the downloads, and then I started publishing videos on YouTube, okay, like showing people how to use these tools. And eventually I started getting subscribers, and people started liking the videos, and I never really made any money at all, and I just kind of just went with it because I love doing it, I love to teach, and I love to talk about technology and free stuff. And so I kept doing it over and over again, and eventually I started getting enough subscribers and visitors at my website that I started to use Google AdSense, and I actually started generating revenue. Now this brings up an important thing when you're talking about pursuing a career or any kind of job or any kind of entrepreneurial venture. You really got to follow what you're passionate about, because the thing about starting a business or starting a new career path or pursuing a dream of some kind is that the only way you're going to have the persistence necessary to make that grow is if you're really passionate about it. And that's one of the most difficult things up front when you're being an entrepreneur, which is what people like to coin the term, like, I'm an entrepreneur. Well, really, it's kind of a miserable experience for the most part, unless you're doing what you love. And essentially, the idea is this. If you constantly pursue something you love, every time you fail, it won't stop you. Okay, so every time PCM Tech Help had problems, or every time I, really just got fed up with it, or every time I saw how much money I wasn't making after all that hard work, it really was not enough to discourage me to stop, because at the core, I wasn't really doing it for the money, wasn't really doing it for the success. I was doing it because I loved doing it. And this is some philosophy that people should carry over into all aspects of their lives. Make sure that you're pursuing something actively outside of your regular day job and your miserable stuff that you are passionate about. Follow your passions, because they develop over time. I never would have imagined, I was talking with my cameraman actually on the phone earlier, I never would have envisioned PCM Tech Help discussing the idea of doing a live stream in HD 3 years ago. I never would have even thought that would have been an option. But the show has evolved in such weird ways, and it's kind of just changed a lot, that it's been really a cool experience for me, because it's just been a lot of fun along the way. And having a community now, a really cool, great grassroots community, which, don't worry guys, I'm going to get to your question soon, is a really awesome experience, because I get to sit down and really have real discussions with other people who are passionate about technology. Not something I ever would have imagined happening 3 years after me sitting in my living room with a really junky microphone and a really crappy laptop putting together a really low resolution screencast video with free software. Never would have envisioned 3 years later I'd be sitting here having a live broadcast in full HD, and then right afterwards jumping to a community page where I've got 180 awesome people there talking about some awesome tech stuff. So really, at the end of the day, follow your passions. Make sure you do that. Very important. Very, very important. So now, 9:27. The show broadcasts live 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Thursday. And then, at the second part of the show, I start to get to your questions, where I can actually, hopefully, answer them to the best of my ability. Now, if you don't know where the show is at, go to pcmtechhelp.com/live, and you can post your questions right at the chat. There's a built-in chat room now where the community is hanging out and talking to each other, which is really quite cool. And you guys can post your questions there. If I have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. If we don't have any questions, well, then we'll go ahead and find something to rant about, I'm sure. What I'll probably do is some community testing, and we'll just go through some community discussion, and we'll go through and see what the community is talking about. And let me see, can I break out this chat room? I would really like to be able to break out the chat so we can watch your guys' chat up this feed right here. So I think that would be really cool if I could do that. Doesn't look like it'll let me though. That's one of the downsides here. If I close that, Notice this right here on the sidebar. This is the chat. Okay, if you're at the PCMTechHelp.com/live, it'll redirect you to this page. This is today's episode. Okay, it's broadcasting live right now, hopefully in HD. I won't find out till after the show. And this is the chat section. So as you guys type, it should be showing up here, hopefully. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. But it doesn't look like it's got a way for me to break out that chat, which is kind of disappointing. I wanted it to come up and break out the chat so I can actually see what you guys are saying as we're discussing it. Control plus the mouse wheel. Let's try it. Oh, hey, that's a good idea. Zooming in. See, I got the best community ever. What is Leo Laporte call them? The hive mind? Scroll over. We can do this. Oh, but the font doesn't really get much bigger. Look at that. Can you guys see that? Let's keep going. Let's keep zooming in. See, but the font doesn't get much bigger. That's one of the downsides. But I can still kind of see your feed here. See, J. Ray K just posted a message, which is kind of cool. It's kind of fun. Hey, are you Craig Chamberlain from PCM? That's awesome. Very cool. Let me scroll down here and actually get to your questions. I'm going to have to open this in another window because you guys, my audio is probably cutting out when I turn around. So I'm going to have to open this over here, and then you guys can watch the feed here as you're discussing things. Try not to spam too much, but we're going to try to pursue this. We're going to try some different things out here. I got to try to find a good way to get that community feed up just as a chat. But hey, that's one way to do it. You know what I mean? Oh, it's going to zoom out on this one. That's disappointing. So I'm going to have to scroll down. Give me one minute. And you guys can watch the feed. It's all fun here as you're discussing things. Try not to spam too much. Somebody bought a CyberPower PC. Awesome. To pursue this. We're going to try some different things out here. I got to go down here through the questions. Sorry about that. To get stream ended, growing pains. Everyone's experiencing my growing pains here. Yes, welcome to the Growing Pains Tech Help show, where we do all kinds of growing pains. I'm going to scroll down. Looks like some people had graininess, control plus mouse wheel. Oh, well, heck, I already caught up with the guys in chat. How fun is that? Try not to spam too much. So here you guys are. Somebody bought a CyberPower PC. Your chat's in the background. We're having exciting. Try some different things out here. I got to go down here through the questions. Sorry about that. It looks stream ended, growing pains. Everyone's experiencing my growing pains here. Yes, welcome to the Growing Pains Tech Help show, where we do all kinds of growing pains. Very cool. Looks like some people had graininess. I didn't expect somebody to just go out and buy it like that. That's very cool. For those of you guys who don't know what he's talking about, actually. CyberPower PC is what my particular laptop is, okay? It is a... sorry, that's my fault. Yep, sorry, that was my bad. Sorry, I was playing a video, and you guys could hear the video. So, hopefully we fixed that. We are on a roll today. But I told him to check out the CyberPower PC. CyberPower PC is essentially a American-based computer company. They build laptops, and they're out of California. And I bought my laptop from them, a really great gaming laptop. And one of the cool things about CyberPower is they actually show you at their website what the frame rate is for the system that you're considering buying. And it's very unique to have a company that can do that. It does like benchmarks ahead of time. Now, one of the downsides about CyberPower I've noticed is that their benchmarks are a little dated. And so you do kind of run into an issue where you do want to make sure that you're comparing apples to apples, because the last benchmark I think I saw them do was StarCraft 2, which isn't extremely old, but StarCraft 2 is older. I think it's almost a year. So you're not getting immediate up-to-date benchmarks on what you're talking about with that particular test on that frame per second. But their systems are incredibly solid because they build them with high-end, like they use bare-bone systems. Mine was an MSI bare-bone system, I found out later. And what they did is they took the MSI bare-bone system and they installed higher quality RAM and graphics cards into the bare-bone system. And then they were able to take that and really kind of get a really solid gaming laptop out of just a bare-bones machine with good hardware. Which is, if I was going to do laptop building on my own, I would do that anyway, right? You can go out to like newegg.com and you can buy a bare-bones system, and then you can actually go in, and after you've purchased the bare-bones system, you can install your own components, your own hardware and things like that, and really kind of get the most out of your system you can get. There's really no other good way to build a laptop. You really have to start with a bare bone system. And so that's one of the things I liked about the CyberPower systems, is that it gives you that whole flexibility there. And it also has that kind of unique flavor, that unique touch. It's a good looking system as well. So I'm glad to hear you went out and bought one, CraftKick. Very cool. And glad to have you back with us. Looks like Tom Prokes is back. Welcome back, Tom. I'm glad we solved the double audio issue. Welcome back, Steve Wheeler. Shout out to Compton Sue. Shout out to J. Ray, Rusty Evans. The big community members are back. Always a good thing. Welcome back to the show. And Rebel just asked me, have you ever had someone walk up to you and say, hey, are you Craig Chamberlain from PCM? Can I have your autograph? Well, nobody's asked me specifically for my autograph. But I have had people say, yes, I think I've seen your videos on YouTube, but I don't think they knew for sure because I never mentioned it first. They're like, oh, PCM Tech Help. Yeah, I've heard that, but I think I've been there before. And then I'd show them the site. They go, yeah, I've been there before. So I've actually ran into people who came across the show accidentally, but I've never actually ran into somebody who came across the show like, yes, PCM Tech Help. I watch it every day religiously. Let me have your autograph for your babies. No, I haven't had that happen. No, I haven't. But we have some really good loyal members here at the community. Like Tom just said, good loyal members. And we are doing a good job building this community from the ground up. We've really only been doing the community building for about a month and a half. So I really like where the direction the show is heading. And now that I've got free time, I'm going to be able to pursue actual tutorial videos outside of this live stream. I was just talking, like I said, to my cameraman the other day, my video guy. We're going to be working on the set this weekend, and we're going to get setting up my new HD camera. And then after that, we're going to be doing full productions, okay? So I'm going to actually be starting to do my tutorials again, which I know you guys might not have, that might have been not been what drew you in. It might have been this live stream. But really, where my show started was showing people how to use software and hardware. And I'm not saying I don't like this, but it's a different audience. Like 8,000 of my subscribers were those people. And so I've actually got to start making content for them again because those poor committed people haven't unsubscribed from me yet. And, I got to give them credit. Got to give them something. So I got to go back to tutorials for sure. So it looks like CraftKick can't watch in HD. That's unfortunate. It's probably a bandwidth issue. It looks like Compton Sue said the same thing. Tom Proke says, we are loyal members. Glad to hear it. Glad we have loyal members here at the PCM Tech Help show. Well, it looks like we don't have any questions. One thing that's kind of different about this community page is we get a lot of discussion, but there's it used to be like with the YouTube channel, we got more questions, it seemed. So that's kind of different. And it's not really a bad thing because the show doesn't have to go on for an hour. If we run out of stuff to talk about, then we run out of stuff to talk about. But I wanted to pull up, as if I had time, which it looks like I have time, I wanted to pull up the community page here, and I wanted to talk about a free download of the day that I can't remember who posted it. Who keeps posting those? I'm sorry, I got to pull this off of here real quick. I'm going to have to come up with a better way to do that, guys, because it's actually shrinking my screen or making my screen bigger, which is bad because I can't see what I'm doing, which would be bad. So let's pull up my screen here. I want to show you guys something here. Let's show up some of my stuff. Let's show some technology off here. Let's see what we got going on. If I go to the community page, PCMTechHelp.com/community. For those of you guys who have not joined the community, it's a Gmail Google Plus community, and it's very, very easy to use. And you can actually see it right here, Google Plus community page. Okay, I'm going to scroll down through here real quick. We got Compton, Rusty, Frank, free desktop OSs, all kinds of fun stuff going on here. Wow, that's really affecting my frame rate, isn't it? I wanted to look at that free download here real quick. What were we looking at today? Free downloads on the left-hand side. All the categories at the community are broken up on the left-hand side to different categories. Of course, Compton Sue posted the classic show, which is awesome. Here it is. J. Ray K posted something called the Portable Freeware Collection, and this tool is LCD checker. Okay, I thought this was pretty cool. And what it does is it checks your LCD screen for bad pixels by doing a white test, a black test, and things like that. And it's very cool. And I kind of wanted to show you guys this because I thought that's kind of a clever idea. It didn't claim to fix dead pixels, of course, so it won't fix your screen, but it will let you be able to actually see if you have any dead or stuck pixels on your system. And so that's at the community page. It's called Is My LCD OK? And that's a cool tool as well for checking out. Here's a question. I'm looking forward to the new tutorials. Me too. Actually, I'm really excited about the new tutorials, to be honest with you, because one of the things that's kind of missing from the show has been tutorials. We usually do all kinds of tutorials here, and it's kind of interesting what we end up doing here. So hang on, someone just told me to click the picture, it'll expand. Let's see here. I've got to see it. Okay, the video popped out. We don't like that. We don't want to do that. Expanded view. Okay, that's on expand. Chat view? No. See, they don't let you do a full-fledged chat room. That's kind of bad. It's not good. Tom Prokes asks, can you overclock your notebook? Me? I probably wouldn't, because CyberPower actually has pre-clocked it, and they've got pre-temperature gauged in it. You can, in general, overclock notebooks. I usually don't recommend it, because the problem with overclocking a notebook, as you know, is that it's a lot smaller and the hardware is a lot more susceptible to heat. When you have an actual computer with a full-fledged computer, you can actually have a lot more cooling, and you can do a lot more with your temperature that you have. But with a laptop, it's totally enclosed and it's scary if you start to get little crazy with it. But you can technically go in and get the overclocking tools from like NVIDIA and ATI and overclock the system anytime you want. But usually you don't want to do it unless you know for a fact your system can handle the extra heat. Right now, if I play this at its full specs, I swear it's like a furnace. It blows heat out the back and it burns my leg. It's that bad. I actually have to have one of those laptop stands, those laptop desk notes, and then it'll blow the heat out on that instead of on my leg. But it gets really hot. So where I'm at right now, no, I wouldn't overheat it. I mean, I wouldn't overclock it, which I might as well call it overheating with a laptop. But yeah, you can technically overheat them, overclock them, but I probably wouldn't recommend it for a laptop. So that's a good question, actually. A lot of people don't ask those types of questions. So any more questions? Come on, guys. Keep the questions coming. That's what this show's all about. Asking questions. I like that question. Rebel says, 80 years into the future, Craig is going to have bionic arms and eyes. I hope so. And I still won't be able to fully broadcast in full 1080p. You guys will see my bionic arms and eyes in standard def. Sad face. Such sad face. J. Ray K says, click the picture and it will expand. You know, I can expand everything except for the chat, it looks like. So I'm going to have to play around with that outside of the show. I don't want to play around with it too much, but I don't want to mess around with it while people are watching. But we will get something figured out for the chat. I'll probably open it in a different browser right here, and then I just won't touch it for the whole show. So we'll see how that goes. Jack B says, I love the HD, Craig. Full high definition. Sounds like it's working. I'm glad to hear that. And did you guys see the intro? You probably didn't, because I started it right at the beginning of the show. But if you haven't seen the intro, it's on here now, and it actually plays it right. Check this out. No more bad audio, huh? I tested it at least. Hopefully you guys heard it. It worked this time, I swear. I played it at the beginning. I did a test. That's why I was late today. I was trying to get the intro working. This is all a work in progress. It's a whip. This is the whip show. By the time we reach episode 500, we will have one coherent episode, I promise. I promise you. 1 out of every 500 episodes will be worth your time. I promise. I absolutely promise. Let's check this out. Oh, no, the download you showed of mine. Oh, sorry about that. Too late. We already closed that download. Do we want to have that? We want to have that fun. Jack Barth says, "Are you guys still having pre-show hangouts?" One thing you guys should know: at the pre-show, at the community, they do pre-show hangouts, which is pretty awesome. So they all hang out at a Google Hangout before the show starts, and sometimes during the show, I've noticed talking about me behind my back. Good stuff. I'm used to it, guys. I'm just kidding, but seriously, what's up with that? Craftkick says, "Wait, I'm confused. What is overclocking? I know it increases your speed, but what does it really do?" Excellent question, Craftkick. Overclocking is essentially taking your computer system and getting more out of it than it was originally spec'd at, okay? Hardware comes off of the shelf essentially to run at certain speeds, okay? But you can take that hardware and run it at faster speeds than it was originally delivered with. When computer manufacturers are making hardware, they make it for the majority of users. They don't make it for the high-end hardcore users. They make it for the majority of users so that it'll last the longest while giving them the maximum optimal speed. Overclocking is essentially increasing your speed of your hardware while simultaneously usually decreasing the lifespan of it. Now what they do is heat kills components, okay? Heat kills electrical components, essentially. So as they overclock it, it gets hotter and hotter and hotter. So what overclockers do is they put more and more cooling in it to bring that temperature down so that they can get more and more speed at the same temperature. So you get the same lifespan of your hardware, but you're getting more bang for your buck, okay? Overclockers typically are very nerdy when it comes to making sure they're maintaining proper temperatures, and they have like an acceptable range of temperature for the processor, for the RAM, for the motherboard while they're overclocking. And as it goes up, they're like, okay, well, we're 10 degrees Celsius over, but that might reduce the life a couple years, but by the time it reduces the life, I could buy a new one free anyway, so it doesn't matter. So they get the most out of the hardware they can get for the lifetime they think they're going to own the hardware. And it's a delicate balancing act, essentially. And really good overclockers know when to overclock what. They know what timings to use. They know how to synchronize your front-side bus speed with your memory speed, so it can get really complicated. But a lot of the software now has actually streamlined the whole overclocking process. So you don't have to go, and used to have to go in and resolder and modify dip switches and things like that to do it. But now you can just use software packages most of the time. And the software packages will detect if there's a temperature issue or instability. It'll actually bring it back. So there's like auto overclocking software and things now. But that is essentially in a nutshell what overclocking is. It's getting more out of hardware than it was originally designed to do. And sometimes it is designed to be overclocked. But that just means that they made it so it has proper cooling at higher frequencies. So, because remember, a frequency is just something, it's something coming on and off really, really quick. Like your processor, the transistors in it are turning on and off at 1.7 gigahertz, which is like 1.7 billion cycles per second, I believe, because megahertz is million. That's 2.7 gigahertz or billion frequent ons and offs per second. And so as things turn off and on like that really quick, it generates heat. It generates a frequency, which generates heat. And heat is what kills components. But all computers they're a whole bunch of transistors that turn on and off and on and off, on and off all freaking day long. And there's thousands of them, millions of them now. Billions now. And that's essentially what it is, what they're doing. And it's really cool what they can do with hardware now. So that's actually a really good question. A lot of people don't know what overclocking is. And essentially, like I said, you up the frequency, so you increase the heat, and so then you have to bring cooling to bring the heat back down so that you can get the most bang for your buck out of your system you can. And that's why overclocking a laptop's difficult, because getting it cooled is one of the most difficult things to do. Jack B says, why don't you clean up your startup programs to speed up your computer? Well, my startup programs are actually, I need them all. That's what's kind of weird about this. Obviously, I have EASEUS Partition Master on there now. I'm going to remove that one. But the Microsoft LifeCam I'm using now. Producer I'm using. TeamViewer I use. Google Chrome I use. The other one's just safely remove hardware. Snagit I use all the time. and my Wi-Fi and my graphics. That's it. I mean, I've actually optimized my startup a number of times on this laptop, but it doesn't. I mean, I've got all the basic programs that I need running. But my startup, I got a solid state drive, so startup isn't a problem for me. I can actually reboot this computer. Again, CyberPower PC, guys, with a solid state drive, this computer boots up in about 10 seconds. It's awesome. It's an awesome experience with Windows 7. I've absolutely loved it. It's been awesome. So, J. Ray K says the picture of the download. We're passing on that. Craftkick says, yeah, it did. J. Ray says, I heard it. Okay, you guys heard the intro. Awesome. Cool. I'm glad you guys actually got to hear the audio now. It's so weird having an intro and then the audio is so bad. I went back and watched those episodes. I was like, why do people even watch this show? I shouldn't be putting myself down, but I'm like, that is so bad. If there's ever more of a testimony to the patience and acceptability of the YouTube audience, it's the fact that that intro passed for as long as it did with the audio that it had. Here I am talking about making sure you have high quality audio and high production if you want to grow on YouTube. Just see everything that I'm doing and do the opposite. That's the strategy if you want to succeed on YouTube. Awesome. Tom Proke says, your thoughts on how we can improve the community. Community is interesting. Building a community is very interesting. First of all, you got to be yourself. Okay, and that's what I've really liked about my community so far is people haven't been shy. They've been themselves. They've shared their own information. They share what they like and what they love. What can really help supercharge a community, though, is you guys got to branch out beyond the community and start sharing our content with people outside of the community. Because what draws people into the community is them seeing things coming out of it. But if there's none of us out there engaging with people outside of our community, then they're never going to see us. And so that's one of the most difficult things to do. I'm not saying this is an easy process, but you got Facebook, you got Twitter, you got all these other social networks. If you guys have any connections, sharing content from within the community and making sure you link back to the community regularly is probably the number one way to do it. One of the great ways to do it also is since you're on Google Plus already, start engaging with people outside of the community on Google Plus, and then when they add you to their circles, when you share content from the community, they're going to see it, and then eventually you'll draw them in. But it's a long process. There's no good way. There's no like super get-rich-quick scheme for building a really strong community. I'd say we're growing at an acceptable rate, which is what you would expect for a real community. You're only going to get 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 members a day of people who are genuinely interested in what we have to say. And that's fine, because we've got I'd rather have 1, 2, 3, or 4 people who are genuinely interested than 50 to 100 who could care less and just want to spam. And you get a ton of them if you try to do the gimmicky ways of doing it. But the community is an awesome tool, and you guys are also already doing an awesome job. Just keep doing what you're doing and be patient. Those are really the 2 biggest things I can suggest. Right now, I'm actually surprised we got 12 people today because I wasn't really able to advertise the show on YouTube. So this is actually a YouTube-less stream right now. Let me go to YouTube and share it on there, and we'll see what people actually have to say. Because originally I got to come up with a way so that I can notify people on YouTube, my 12,000 subscribers, that I'm actually broadcasting. So, yeah, I can't do that yet. There's no real good way for me to do that other than post it to my channel on the feed. I don't even know how to do that anymore because they changed my channel, which is awesome. I like the new channel. But maybe I can go to discussion. Here we go. See, now if I post here, though, it's comments on this channel. I don't know if it's going to send it out to my members or not. Let's see. There's post. I don't know if that's going to work or not. I don't have the new layout quite figured out yet for the YouTube channel, but I can show you guys it real quick if you guys haven't seen it. Let me pull up my screen here. Let's do the 2D mix. Here I have my YouTube channel, the new YouTube channel. I got to do my channel art here at the top. Haven't done that yet, but I have this old video of when I did my it's a semi-comical video on on computer slowdown syndrome. Very dramatic. And if you go down here, I have my recent uploads. I like that they added this popular uploads. These are actually my most viewed videos, which is kind of cool. It's got a little side-scrolling bar right here on the right, so I can scroll through them. If I go down through here, it's got PCM Tech Talk Live, which I updated today, so it's got the latest episodes on that. How to build a computer, my series, so I can actually go in here and specify all of my video series, every video series I wanted to display right here at the main channel. And so it's a really cool layout. I like it a lot because they can play all these videos right directly from my channel now, and it's pretty easy to work with. So that was a good move on their part for sure. Definitely a good move. I'm really happy it's turning out more and more like Google Plus because I'm really happy that integration is going to continue to take place. So, oh, and you know what we did is we, another thing somebody had mentioned earlier about growing the community, this was no, it wasn't J Ray. Was it J Ray? Oh man, I got to give the right person credit for this because it was awesome. Rebel, it was Rebel. Rebel Do suggested using hashtags. Hashtags are an incredible way to get engagement as well. Hashtagging and doing the plus tagging, also an awesome way to grow and get people's attention. And I think we got like 2 or 3 new members today, and I think a lot of it might have to do with the hashtags. Hashtags are easy to use. You just hashtag it whatever you think is related to the topic that somebody might type into a search or something. And 9 times out of 10, it'll connect with something. So lots of ways to improve the community. Keep doing what you're doing. J. Ray K, have you ever had an optical finger mouse? I ordered 2 of them. I have not. The closest I've had to an optical mouse is this one. I'm using it right now. That's the closest I have gotten to an optical mouse. I've never used anything unique like an optical finger mouse. I saw you guys talking about it in the community. It's very cool. And it's basically a finger mouse. Like you can actually hold your finger over it, right? You can, play around with it that way. And that's pretty awesome. So I'm kind of interested to see how that works out for you. If you can do a video on it, that'd be cool. Because I've never actually seen one in action. So, good question, Jay. Rebel Do says, I know we talk about eye tracking tech, but do you know what's going to be in the Samsung Galaxy S4? I did not know that. They're going to do eye tracking in the Samsung Galaxy S4? The stuff they come up with. Eye tracking in a phone. I don't even know. Is there a real big use? I mean, other than for disabilities, is there a huge demand for that? Like, is it more for just like to be cool? Or what's the big benefit? What's the big draw for that? For eye tracking technology. Maybe I just can't think of an application on a phone. Right now I can't think of a phone application where I'd look around and I'd be able to move the mouse on it. I don't see a big benefit in that for a phone, but I could be wrong. Rusty says, I got a wireless mouse. It works great. Me too. I love it. Wireless mice. Do you believe they make these wireless now? My wife didn't steam my backdrop. That's disappointing. I sense a divorce soon here in the future. Very disappointing. Very disappointed. I'm very disappointed. J. Ray says, Tom Prokes, the hashtags are pretty awesome. Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier. Awesome. Hashtags are a great way to get engagement outside of the community because what you're doing is you're tagging it, and if somebody does a search for that hashtag, they can find that article. And they're not in the community, they'll see that it's from the community because it shows a little. Every time you share something with your circles, it shows a little backlink to the community page, and that's where they can actually go in there and join. So, Rusty Evans says, "Have you fooled with Windows 8 much, Craig?" Yes, I have, and it's an interesting experience to say the least. It's a touchscreen environment, so it's not really appropriate for desktops. I believe, Rusty, you've been talking about your bad experience with it, which you're not the only one. But you'll be happy to know that, who posted, Compton Sue posted that Windows 8, Start 8, I think it's called Start 8 Open Source, Classic 8, and then you can actually do the original start menu structure. So download that. It's the Windows 8 start menu, essentially. It's a Windows 7 start menu shell, and you can install it right on top of Windows 8, and it'll get rid of the Metro UI as the default UI, and so you can actually kind of go back to somewhat functioning on the normal level. It's a must-have, and it's free. It's a must-have for any Windows 8 user anymore. So, but I've fooled with it enough to be frustrated with it. I've still got to finish my Faster 8 series, so we'll see how that goes. Tom Proke says, hashtags? Yeah, that's where you type a pound sign and what the topic was about. So in other words, if I say, I'm doing a live stream, and then put pound live stream as one word, and then if somebody clicks on it, they see all of the articles who hashtag powered live stream. And so that's a great way for people to connect with the show outside of it. So Jack says, Craig, could we ever meet your wife? I don't think she'd want to meet anybody outside of, she's like so awkward about the whole filming and video thing, which is kind of odd because like, I don't know. I don't know, maybe, possibly. I know Chris Pirillo's wife is all over the show. So, I mean, it wouldn't bother me. The idea doesn't bother me. I just don't think she would like it. She'd be awkward. You'd be like, oh, wow, really? That's so awkward. But she's awesome. She's letting me be here, right? 4 days out of the week? Ha, can't complain. Very cool. Rusty Evans says, no hashtags. Aw. Rebel Do says, oh boy, Craig, explain the community about hashtags and how they work on Google+. I think we've just covered that. They work really well. And if you actually are confused, go to the community page, pcmtechhelp.com/community. Check out the hashtag posts that me and Rebel have been posting. And Rebel actually pretty much pioneered it, man. He was nailing it right out of the box. He posted an article and a description of the article, and then he would post all the hashtags at the bottom of the article. And it actually looks good there. So it's almost like you read the you read the comment, and then you can actually at that point click on a hashtag. And I really liked the way he laid it out. So that was really kind of a cool way to do it. So definitely check that out because that's the way I'm going to start doing it now. I liked it. J-Ray says he's hashtagged all of his downloads. Awesome. So is Rebel Do. Compton Sue says, I like your t-shirt, Craig. Thanks! Anybody know what these are? Do you guys know what these are? This is where my age is showing, okay? This is pretty much dead on when I grew up. Not before this, not after this. After this was new to me. But this is where it all started, right here. Oh, yeah. Tom Proke says, plus J-Ray, nice. Jack B says, I miss the Illuminati shirt. Maybe you should give that away to a lucky viewer. I'm not giving away my Zelda shirt, okay? That's not going to happen. Ever. Never, ever, 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 ever. It's mine. I'm going to wear it again just for you, Jack. Rebel Do says, does HTML code work within the live chat? Probably not. They usually don't like to allow you to embed code in any kind of chat room because, well, for obvious reasons. People can actually start creating links or malicious code or redirects or just all kinds of crazy stuff. So usually they remove coding from generalized chat. You can try, but I doubt it'll work. Oh, dude, Rebel Do says, LOL, play Fruit Ninja with the eye track tech on the Samsung. See, maybe there is a demand for it. I never would have even thought of that. Fruit Ninja, like, that's kind of creepy, but also kind of fun. I'd play that. I'd be like, this is so dumb 4 hours later. Tom Proke says, time's up. Nice. It is, actually. Thanks for the heads up. It is 10 p.m., and we have officially gone a full episode in full HD, I hope. And it looks like things have been going pretty good so far. So the show at this point, after I've reviewed it, everything seems to be going good. We'll have more content and structure to it. A lot of this for the first few episodes has been kind of how are we going to get this working? And it looks like we finally got HD, and so from this point on, I can actually start to make some other decisions on how we're going to progress beyond this, and we'll see where we go from there. So, thank you all for stopping by. As always, this is the PCM Tech Help Show, broadcasting live Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern to 10 p.m. Eastern, where I answer your questions to the best of my ability. If I can't answer your questions, make sure you go to the Tech Help community, free, pcmtechhelp.com/community. And you can join the community on the discussions. I'll go on there after the show and over the weekend in this case. Because it's Thursday, it's the end of the week. I'm going to miss you guys. But hey, all good things must come to an end, at least for a little bit, until next Monday. And hopefully by next Monday, I'll have the new camera set up and we'll go through a whole bunch more growing pains because we like to experiment on this show. But eventually, we'll get some stability and some real quality stuff getting out there, and we'll get some more and more people coming in here from the community. So I always want to leave you guys with this because it's one of my favorite things now because it works. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend. I really appreciate you guys coming out, and I will see you guys on Monday.